This is the end of the Faroe Islands, the furthest south you can go. In fact, it's only about 200 miles, or 250 miles on, to the Outer Hebrides, to the Butt of Lewis. Here we are, greetings from Sumba in the Faroe
Smellanum, humpunum og stompenum starta. Satt hun frem til største deg. Starta for akvatna mella vi graven kompi og kvitt og nella og bort i bort og vevne. Kjente rancha patt og pive, rancha komma vi spør. Den ligger ut rundt deg og ferdig etter smøret av deg og spør om du bare med. Ferdig etter for jeg er med og start opp og dansa. For jeg skal dansa vi og hella noen og smella noen. Pumpen noen og stoppen noen starta.
Behind me here is the town of Faroe. Now, can you ever imagine in your wildest mind living in a town like this? This is so isolated in the Faroe Islands, it's unbelievable. It's a 10-mile drive down the road till you get to a road which is slightly bigger than this. Can you imagine what it must be like, life, citizens here, of Tjørnavik behind me?
Fast veren hon stor et lute smil fra tær Alt leie her tja mer Nå solen fer i kau Og dæveren av Vei det kvæde vil gjera Jeg vil bare vera tja tær
Well, it's hard to imagine anything more idyllic than where we are now. This is Gjørguf in Eysturoy in the Faroe Islands, this amazing place behind me, nestling between the rocks with the sea behind it. I just cannot imagine anything more beautiful than this. In the middle of nowhere, on a road which is about 12 or 15 kilometers from the nearest main road. Absolutely unbelievable, and people live here, as you can see. This is Gjørguf. This is Klaksvik. Klaksvik is the second city here in the Faroe Islands and it's very big for production of beer and fish processing. And this is right here in the north of the Faroe Islands, Klaksvik. Have a look at it.
See that you're
place was inhabited until 1998 only. The people who lived here used to do crofting, and their husbands went fishing for days on end in the Atlantic Ocean just to the left of us here. In 1998, the storms and the weather were so bad, in the end they realised that they would have to abandon poor little old Mully here and go off to the bright lights of Klaksvik, which is where they went. So this is now uninhabited, but it is let out for holiday homes for those who wish to come on holiday in the middle of nowhere. This is Mully in the Northern Islands. Now, what you can see here is really is Land's End, the last post, as far as you can possibly go in the Faroe Islands. This is still in Viðareiði, by the way, but behind me you've got Fugløy and Svínoy. Fugløy and Svínoy, they are the last two islands. The one here on this side is Fugløy, the one over here is Svínoy. They're largely uninhabited, so this really is the last inhabited place, Viðareiði. And so these are the last two islands. Beyond that, it has to be the North Pole. Island. In fact, to get to this town behind me, which is also called Kunoy, this is the only town on this island. You have to come through a tunnel, a single track tunnel, with hardly any lighting in it, which goes on for about 3 miles. It's actually quite frightening. Luckily there's not too much traffic and there are passing places in the tunnel. And this is all just to help the people and the inhabitants of Kunoy, which you can see behind me, with the lochs between the next island and the next island beyond that. So this is Kunoy, a bit further south than Viðareiði, but a similar thing. Viðareiði also, you have to go through tunnels to get there as well. Quite an amazing feat here on these northern islands. Behind me here is Fuglafjörður. This is a town of 1,500 people and my very last stop in the Faroe Islands for 2010. It's in Eysturoy. It has 1,500 people living here. It is actually the busiest fishing port in the Faroe Islands. So much fish is processed and brought in through here to be processed in factories, etc. It's also the place where 20% of the Faroe Islands exports pass through this actual port. This is Fugløy, and as I said, Fuglafjörður, and it's a very interesting place and very beautiful too, as you can see.
lite smil fra tær. Allt læge her tja mer. Nu solen fer I kæv, og dæveren av. Veit hva det vil gjøre, jeg vil bare være tja tær.